What?
Here he is.
How are you, brother? How's things all right?
Good, brother. How are you?
Good, good, man. Just finished up a big session, my man.
Very nice, very nice. Sparring today.
No, I had road work. I did a nice 10K run and recovery. I had sparring yesterday. Just smashed out some rounds, so it was good.
Fantastic, fantastic. And how's the sound check? Can we get a thumbs up from everyone that's tuning in? Everyone can hear us? I think everyone can hear us, Mick, so we'll move on. Before we start, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge Anzac Day and pay our respects. And today we're kicking off episode 1 of our show. It's still a baby venture for me, but something, obviously having been involved in martial arts, not at your level, Mick, but and the love for it. I thought this is some way, we can give back and give the exposure to athletes they deserve. Today we'll kick off with a massive bang. Michael Zerafa, one of the top names in the country, one of the goats of Australian boxing, in my opinion. No doubt one of the country's most talked about fighters, and he stepped in the ring with the absolute best. So we're going to go through a couple of questions with him. Mick, you're still, what people forget is you're still the number 1 ranked middleweight in the country. You're top 10 in the world. You're not far off a world title. So I want to get your thoughts on where you think you're at right at the minute, 40 fights into your career.
Yeah, look, I'm in a very good spot. I mean, being highly world ranked, you don't fight as often. Obviously, fights are a lot harder to be made, and obviously, the guys behind you doesn't really elevate you. So it's one of those ones where it needs to either be financially rewarding or, a title on the line or a fight that's kind of moving you forward. So you're not just fighting for the sake of fighting. I'm ranked across the sanctioning bodies now, the WBA and WBO. I'm highly world ranked there, and in the middleweight rankings, I'm sitting at number 8 in the world. So, I'm in a good spot. And obviously, after the last drama and whatnot, it was a huge, knock to the brand and my career. But we keep moving forward. We're in negotiations now with some big guys overseas. I feel like I've outgrown Australia. I've fought everybody, and I've given guys the opportunity and whatnot. And yeah, boxing is one of those sports where people just criticize you when you're down or, jump on a bandwagon when things are going good. So it's a funny sport.
Yeah. Individual sports are tough, especially when you've taken a loss or you're going time. You really, I suppose, learn who your supporting crew is around you. And, having been on the end of that myself, it's tough. It's tough mentally to get through that. And, at world level, like yourself, you fought on the biggest stages in the world. So it would be tough, and you need mental resilience to be able to get through that. And we'll touch on that a little bit later in the show. But talk to the audience a little bit about, I know Michael Zerafa from the suburbs. How did you go from the suburbs to, elite boxing, on the world stage, on our screens?
It all just started, man, as a young kid. I had no idea what I was doing. I had 2 left feet. I was never, in any sport I played, I never really was, you see some kids that just have natural talent, and they're like, man, he's like 6 years old and he's just got already a tremendous amount of ability. I was never that kid. I was just someone that, had a lot of discipline and someone that would, keep coming back regardless of how crappy he was. But, and then it became like an addiction. I just loved the sport. And growing up was tough. I didn't come from a rich family or anything like that. I never had anything kind of handed to me. But I knew I could, give that discipline and dedication and potentially make something of myself. And I love a challenge. I always love getting in there and being the underdog and trying to prove people wrong. And I've just got that real competitive personality. Even as a kid, I'd be getting bashed by my cousins because I was the runt of the group and the youngest cousin at the time before my brother. And I'd go there, cop my beating, and then the next day I know I'd be coming back for another one, but I'd still rock up, and I just always had that mentality of just, always pushing through, and it prevailed. I stuck with it, and it paid off in the end.
I'm the youngest of three brothers, so I know where you're
Yeah,
coming from
yeah.
with
I
that.
always used to rock up.
Um,
Even my sister used to give me a whooping.
I I knew there was something special in you when I used to come and do some sparring and power play a little bit with the boys, and you were just forever running kilometres, around the area, and then even in the suburbs of where you live, you were just forever putting in the work, and I'm talking the real early stages, like, you're on local shows with 500, 1,000 people, so,
Yeah.
um, and not making a hell of a lot of money, at that time. So, what drove you? Like, was that you always thought you're a good chance to make it because you invested a lot, early on, and not, really you weren't rewarded for it until very later on in your career.
Yeah, look, for me, I was like, there's only one way to find out. It's either all in, or I just believe if you're doing something half-hearted, sorry, you won't make it. And I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to make something of myself. I want to try to, be on the world stage and fight for world titles and fight my idols. And I got the opportunity to do that. I got the opportunity to fight for world titles. Rub shoulders and fight my idols and beat my idols. And I just feel like anybody that wants to become anything, and that's in anything in life, not just um, you know sport. If you want to open up a business, or even relationally, if you're giving your partner 50%, it's not going to work out. You've got to give everything 100%, and then you get either found out or you succeed.
And so with the the big fights, or not just the big fights, any fight, there's a lot of nervous pressure as you build up. There's you got your open workout days, and you got the build up to the fight. You're on the mic. A lot of pressure. Like, how do you deal with that? Like, going into a big fight.
I feel like you just try to stay as cool, calm, and collected. Don't overthink the situation. I used to when I was younger. I'd be like, oh, I'm going live, or like there's an audience there, or I've got to try to remember lines or whatnot. But I feel like you just be you, and soak up the atmosphere and enjoy it as much as possible. I love getting in front of a camera and the open media days, and not only that, the people you meet. You meet your supporters and even the haters. You meet them too, but off camera and away from a keyboard, they're actually. Regardless of them being in your corner or not, they're actually nice people and do support you. But I feel like that's the best part of it. The fight night and obviously the build up is the best part of it. I enjoy that, and I look forward to the next one, because there's big things in the pipeline. So the next one should be even more fun.
Absolutely, mate, and we will definitely keep back into. I look, before we get into the Michael Zerafa I know, or I have known, around the scenes in the community. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but can you talk to us a little bit about what our viewers potentially want to know about the situation of the Nikita fight?
Yeah, look, the whole build up for the whole fight was amazing. Everything went to plan. The promotion was good. The leading into it, the media side of things, everything was going to plan. I was super confident. I went in the ring and I won the first round, I believed, and I sat back in the corner. Everything was sweet. I said to the team, we're on here. I've got my distance. I feel comfortable. And then that just quickly changed. And obviously in the sport, headbutts happen all the time, and this is what people need to understand. It wasn't the actual headbutt. The cut wasn't the issue. It was when he headbutted me, he actually did damage to the eye. And at the time, I panicked. I couldn't see, and I was trying to get the vision, and I said to the ref during the round, like when he pulled me over for the start of round 3, he said, "Let's get it checked out," because I didn't say nothing, and he goes, "Let's get it checked out," and then not realizing in the situation, I was just answering his questions. He goes, "How's the vision?" I was like, "Yeah, I can't see." He said to the doctor, "Doc," he said he can't see. He made me cover my eye, and I said, "Yeah, I can't see." And then he goes, "If I stop the fight, it's going to go to a no contest." And in the moment, again, I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I know." Like, not realizing that answering him is going to obviously do damage to me. And I've said, "Yeah, yeah," and he's waved the fight off. But at no moment did I ever say, "I want the fight stopped. I'm not good to continue." I was just answering the questions in the moment, and I get it. I know how it looks. And then when the crowd started going crazy, whatever, I panicked even more. I started getting more like, "What's going on here?" And then they put me in front of a microphone and asked me questions, and I was like, "No, no." I said it was blurry, not I can't see, and that's where I fucked up. And I get it. I understand why people say what they say and whatnot, and people. I take accountability for that, and people, hard earned money goes onto these pay-per-views and tickets. But at the end of the day, it wasn't the cut that was the issue. I actually did damage to the eye, and for me, and like Tim Zoo the other day, everyone's saying, "Oh, the fight, when you can't see, the fights get stopped." But for me, it was different for some reason. I guess I'm the villain, and for whatever reason, I can't have that same, same treatment.
I
But
get it,
yeah,
mate.
but
A lot of them, sorry, mate.
No,
A lot of them, you know, get a cushy ride, and um, I think you've been hard done by in the media, by the people. You've copped a lot of shit, and some of the stuff is not. It's just not acceptable. Plain and
yeah,
simple.
like it's a sport at the end of the day, and not only that, mental health is real, and there's a lot of like AFL player, a lot of athletes that go through it, and and I always say you're only one comment. You don't know what someone's going through, and I've got tough skin, but you're only one comment or one message or whatever it is away from making someone do something stupid, well, life's as hard as it is, with all the crises we have every second day, like it's free to be nice, you know what I mean, and I take accountability. I said, I get how it looks, but at the end of the day, like I was actually going through something. Mate, my vision comes first. You know what I mean? Like in such a big fight,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
and,
You
and
can't
headbutt.
risk you can't risk permanent damage moving forward. And what people have got to realise behind the athlete is, you know, Michael Zerafa's got a family. He's got life after boxing. So boxing, whilst it's been a long part of your life and journey, it comes to an end at some stage. And Michael Zerafa needs to be able to do something else, with his life. So, in my opinion, and I'm one person, but I think you were 2 rounds up. I think you were looking sharp, and I think you would have gone on to win the fight. And what people also don't realise is that if this was called off after round 4, Michael Zerafa wins the fight. So I just wanted to let our viewers understand that, in the heat of battle, people can say things. There's adrenaline running, through your body when you're in the ring, and you say all sorts of things. I've said certain shit to my trainer, and I've also been, I've got knocked down once pretty severely in my one and only boxing fight when I tried to cross paths, and yeah, I was telling him I'm fully there, I'm ready to go, mate. I was out of it. So you need someone to sort of, wind you back into line, and whether that's that way or the other way, we sometimes say things that we probably shouldn't say, and
Yeah,
as you
yeah,
said, you probably fucked up your wording, but it's that's not and you also talk about the money people pay for the show, but at the end of the day, this people's health runs a lot deeper than $50. So
100%. I know when they interviewed me, that's what I mean. Like I was saying, it was blurred because I was speaking on it, I what I was going through, and I remember saying I can't see, and then when he asked me, I was like, no, no, blurry, and I couldn't, because I was going with what I was actually going through, and it was like someone poked me in the eye, and you know that like feeling you get, but it wasn't coming back, you know, and I was like, fuck, what's going on here? Like I've done something in my eye, you know, and obviously getting scans later that night, I had a 6 out of 20 vision, and again, I'm not making excuses in terms of I get how it looks, and I'm gutted because my moment, you know, I got my moment taken away from me as well because it was such a big fight. It was a zoo, and the Zerafa name, obviously that rivalry, and I truly believe I would have won. And people reckon I took a dive, and if that was the case, like you said, you know, I would have just taken it to 4 rounds and won on technicalities, and it was not the case. I didn't get any extra pay-per-views or ticket seats or anything like that, and yeah, look, I was gutted, and yeah, like, I mean, I guess that's just the sport, and the promoters overseas, like the big boys said, you know, it happens all the time. You know, no contest happens all the time. Just get the rematch and let's do it again. But,
Yeah.
you
It
know,
is. It is. I guess it is what it is, and that's gone. It's done, and I know there's you know, some talk about some big fights on the line. You know, you so um, you know, we'll get into that a little bit later. But I want to talk about the Hardman fight because that the build up and the talk about that fight. Mate, that was massive, and I was there that night. That that knockout was something special. I was elated. I jumped in the ring. I don't know if you remember, because as I said, like there's adrenaline going, and I had adrenaline myself because I built myself up as a viewer, as a
yeah,
spectator. Um, so that was something massive, and you took his O away, and you know, and no disrespect to Isaac, there are levels, and you showed that you know you're on a different level. That knockout that night, mate, I reckon people outside the stadium. That how did that feel? And so early on as well.
yeah. Look, it felt amazing, obviously, because there was just so much rivalry, and not even rivalry. There was genuine hate between me and him, you know, and it started about 5 months prior. So it was just, I remember there was times where I'd be going for runs and he'd FaceTime me, he'd get my number somehow, and oh, I'm going to smash you. And, you know, 3 months to go, 2 months to go. I was like, this is crazy. This guy's lost the plot, you know, and he tried to play.
Fighters actually do that shit. Like they call you like to get you off your game.
Well, he definitely tried, and I mean, it didn't work for me because I knew what he was trying to do. Like when someone's doing that more and more, it's kind of like they're doubting themselves, um,
Yeah.
and then when we faced off, you know, he tried to grab me, whatever, and then we ended up fighting at the actual weigh-in, and then I just programmed my brain. I just said, you know, this is going beyond the fight. Like I want to hurt this bloke. And then I got in the ring, and I remember when I got in there, I was like, Jesus, he's big. You know, he's a big dude. He was, you know, a lot taller than me. He rocked up about 10 kilos heavier than me too. So I knew I was going to be in for a fight. But the first round, you know, I just was so switched on. I just stuck to the game plan and used my distance. And then he kept making the same mistake, and I picked up on it super early. You know, every time I jab hooked and moved off, he always kept that hand down. And I was like, well, hang on a second. You know, I've landed it 3 times. This time I'm not going to move off. I'm just going to stay there. And as I came in, I just turned that hook and straight on the chin. He went straight down. I knew he was gone. I knew he didn't want to be there. And he got up before the 10 count, and then I just ran straight on him and hit him with, you know, maybe 10, 15 punches, and the ref called it off. He didn't know what day it was. But, um, you know, that's some people need to be taught, and some people learn throughout the journey. But, you know, he's a tough dude. He was, you know, I feel like the sport he's in now, I think he's transitioned to the MMA side of things, or the bare knuckle. I think that's more his style. He brought a lot of attention to the sport, and we actually get along now. Me, believe it or not, we actually, you know, follow his career and he follows my career, and you know, I think we put the past behind us, and um,
Yeah.
yeah, like
And
he's a good dude.
no hard feelings to Isaac. I just wanted to talk about that, and we wish him all the best. Um, whatever he's doing, it's not the bare knuckle; it's the MMA in the ring.
As
So
long as he's
good.
punching somebody, he's
Yeah,
happy.
yeah, yeah. That's right, and you're right. He's probably more suited to that, you know, rough and buff kind of style, and he'll do well to promote that sport too. He's a talker, and he got our attention, and he got eyes on that fight and on the show. So good on him for that. Um, I wanted to touch. Well, Yeah, sorry. Can you still hear me, Mick?
I can still hear. I thought you got electrocuted.
Yeah, nah. Just touched one of the just the equipment, but we're still here, so it's all good. Um, After the Nikita fight, obviously, you know, you copped a lot of shit. Let's be honest. Um, you know, online, people DMing you with all sorts of crap. Um, how did you, you know, can you talk to us about what kind of threats and things like that did you cop, and how did you deal with
Man, I copped so much. Like it started from the smallest comment to the biggest comment. Because people started thinking that I was money grabbing. Like I didn't get anything additional for ticket sales or pay per views, but people thought that I wanted to get another payday in a rematch, and I wanted to. Yeah, so people were, you give me my money back. When I fight, like I was getting death threats, and
it? Death threats, death
yeah,
threats.
it was
People,
it was getting out of control to the point where I was like, it's actually crazy and absurd, that people would just like go to that level of abuse. But again, I'm tough. Like the greats say, whether you love or you hate it, you'll tune in. But for me, that villain role, I can't get rid of. I've tried, and and it's
I
made.
think it suits you.
Yeah, look,
Uh,
I've got the personality, and obviously TV and broadcasting teams love it because I'm very quick witted and I come back with the good one liners and stuff like that. But it was just hard because my genuine personality is just cool, calm, collected, and a give back kind of guy. So majority of my career I was that fighter, and then obviously when I started getting highly world ranked and a big like a name, the TV and the production team wanted me to change the narrative a little bit and be the bad guy and walk in the flashy suits, the glasses and whatnot, and it worked. But I mean, it worked in terms of financially and all that kind of stuff and headlining and TV and all that. It was great, but if you don't have tough skin, it's not worth it, And I had to learn because I never was like that, So I had to learn on the job almost,
yeah,
and it was tough. Like I said, it was tough, but even now I still get it. I can't see and this and that, and I mean it's petty, but again, where I'm going and what I'm doing, in 10 years from now there'll be another Michael Zerafa, and no one will remember me, or so like mundane,
I
he,
think we'll remember you, mate. Yeah,
yeah.
I think we will.
Hopefully, I've done a lot in the sport. I fought, 10 or 11 world champions. I've beaten everybody. I fought for multiple world titles. And don't forget, this is I'm just a local kid, that just chases. I never had a famous father or, I built it off, my own back, just a hard work, dedication. And I do it just to show that anything's possible. These kids that are just like me that want to become something, just give it a crack. You can do it. It is possible, and it's been hard, but I'm grateful for everything that I've been through.
Love that about you, mate. And you're a role model to the community. I think there's still plenty more to come from
100%.
Michael Zerafa. So we're going to sit tight and watch what unfolds. I, with that, we talked about the situation and then what you've copped. Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, platforms like the Zone. Um, he come out. He said Michael Zerafa is deserving of the big fights. He backed you.
Yeah.
What does that what does that mean? This guy is a promoter that essentially sees what other promoters can't see, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
puts on big shows, world class. So
Yeah.
what did that
I've
mean?
been before, like I've got the opportunity to work with him, when I fought Cal Brook and stuff. And, we're talking about a guy that's a multi-billionaire and done this for majority of his life. This guy studies promoting, he's a businessman. And, he came out and backed me because what happens on the regular in the sport. Head clashes happen, no contests happen, but because of the way they painted me, it wasn't okay. Like I wasn't allowed to have an injury. I'm not allowed to say that I can't continue or something's wrong, or and this is what's sad because like you mentioned, the guys like Eddie Hearn or the big promoters have come out and said, mate, I don't get what your issue is. Like, get a rematch, let's do it again. Like, it happens. He mentioned multiple fighters that it's happened to, big names. It's that's the sport. You know, an article yesterday on Fox Sports said that Tim Tszyu should have retired and not and he would have still been a world champion. Jeff Fenech said it. But for me, I mean, it worked in my favour because all the comments were like, well, hang on a second, when Zerafa said it, you all had a crack at him. But I mean, that's what's hard about the whole situation. But I was grateful for Eddie. Me and Eddie talk, and we've had conversations, and yeah, like I'm grateful for him.
That's great, mate, and that's a testament to you and the reputation you've built. Not just in Australia, but amongst the world's best. And I think there's been obviously a lot of talk about Eubank Junior fight, and that puts a smile to my face because I think in my opinion, winning Michael Zerafa needs to move on from Australian fighting opponents in Australia, and we want to see you back, fighting the Americans, the English names and the big guys in the sport. Chris Eubank Jr., man, he's a big name. Like he's beat, Conor Benn, Liam Smith. Like these guys are world class. He's been in with literally the best. So, firstly, how close are we to that fight? Can you tell us anything that we don't know?
I can't say too much, but we have a huge promoter interested. We got big government backing interested. We've got a meeting being scheduled. His team's the hardest part's done in terms of he's agreed and I've agreed. Obviously it comes down to getting both teams to agree, and we've both agreed. We're both super keen. His management wants the fight, he said, and happy to come down to Melbourne, Australia, and actually two promoters, I should say, not one. I just remember there's two promoters, yes. But the hard part's done. He's agreed, we've agreed, and I believe I beat him. I love being the underdog. Obviously, going into that fight, everyone will be against me, and that's okay. I enjoy that. I don't mind being the underdog because I feel like when I'm expected to win and it's an easy fight, I don't perform at the best, but when everyone's against me and, like the Horn fight and the Hardman fight and, the Kell Brook fight, everyone was against me and I come out, proving people wrong and proving my worth, so we are super close. We are very close. And
I can't wait for that one. And,
yeah.
Especially being in Melbourne, for me, obviously, I've been at a few of your fights, but that one is one, we're not going to miss. So I encourage, the country to get behind you. You're our number one middleweight, still top 10 in the world. A fight like that, I think, moves your career forward in a massive way, and puts you on the verge of another world title tilt. So, mate, eager to see that one get locked in, and back you to win that fight and win it well, and I think you can. Mate, as we wrap up, I just we've talked about the fights and the journey and things like that, and some of the stuff you've been through, and I appreciate you taking the time. We've almost been on for 30 minutes, but Michael Zerafa does a lot behind the scenes, and I personally remember you, coming, for nothing, volunteering at my local footy club, 10 years ago, and talking to the kids, and not just the kids, but the adults too, and talking to us about journey and, mental health and, promoting wellness, essentially, amongst the community. I recall you helping at aged care homes and things like that. This is a lot of stuff people don't know. People see Michael Zerafa in the ring, on the mic, and that's all they know. So talk to us about, why you do things like that, and where does that come from? Like, what you give plenty back? Like, why?
Man, like I just enjoy it. It makes my heart.
Matt Pilios has signed in, mate.
Oh, man,
It's
wait, the legend himself. Like
welcome.
it comes from. I mean, like I was born with it, man. Like I just love giving back. I love helping. Um, it makes my heart feel warm, man. Knowing I can make someone's day and use the little bit of platform that I have to make someone else's day better. And I don't go out to try to get it on the news and TV because I do it from the heart. It's not for if I get a bit of media or I can be seen doing this. And I've given T-shirts off my back. Literally, I can't walk past a homeless man without buying him food or asking his situation or if there's any way I can help. And it doesn't just stop there. It goes from the elderly to kids with disabilities or just the everyday person. And like I said, it makes my day, and the more the better. You know what I mean? Like I said, life's hard. We're meant to be getting around each other. We're only here on this earth once. And it's tough, man. You know what I mean? Like just help, man. Like give back, and then if you can be in a situation where it's not going to put you out, help, because it comes back
I
10 times
yeah,
better.
absolutely. It comes back tenfold. I've always loved that about you because I've known that about you,
Mm.
in the background, but not everyone does. So I wanted to shine a light on that. And, um, you know, I know you also do a lot for, mental health awareness and support. Have you got any, upcoming initiatives, surrounding that? Or, making any appearances anywhere?
Yeah,
What's happening?
I forgot exactly what it's called. Actually, I should actually know what it's called. It's called Living, I think, and it's a mental health. Um, just to get around it and show support and love and like just spread the awareness, man. We've got this stigma that we've got to keep quiet and be men and whatnot, but it's okay to not be okay. Speak up and this is what I try to tell people. It's a touchy subject because I always say, like behind a keyboard, they go out there and they drill somebody, but it's that one comment that tips somebody over, and um, yeah, like it's a shame. But whatever I can, like I said, I always talk about. I've had a few mates that have taken their lives through it, and I don't want anyone to be in that situation. Thursday night they're there, Friday morning they're not, and I rather listen to a problem and have a shoulder they cry on than attending a funeral. You know what I mean? It's not good, and wherever I can help, even if those haters, I've had a lot of haters out there that have drilled me, and then you get to the bottom of their actual situation and they're in a real dark place, and I've tried to help them, even though they've been there trying to drill me. So even the ones that are tuning in, if whether you love or you hate me, if you're going through something, you're not alone. Reach out, and I promise you, I'll do whatever I can to help it where I can.
You're a legend, mate. And Sal's just made a note there, living. So he's the
Living better,
organisation. Yeah,
a better challenge. So every day for the month, you got to get out and you do your 9,000 steps and just spread the awareness and spread the love and smile. Smiling's free. You know what I mean? And trick the brain. And a bad day lasts 24 hours, and every morning you get the opportunity to change it around. So I'll be doing my part wherever I can to make it better.
yeah. From someone who works in mental health training and mental health support, we deliver actually a lot of mental health state training organisations and things like that. So I'm deep into that, and you know, doing things like that and taking part in initiatives where you get nothing out of, that means the world to me. And um, I'm also someone that's had immediate family affected, by suicide. So um, I mate, I take my hat off to you
I
for
appreciate it.
volunteering time. Um, what would you say? So move on to a little bit of a happier topic. Um, you know, happier for us anyway. But those just calling for your retirement, 40 fights into your career. He's washed up. You got nothing left. Like, what do you tell them?
Tune in. Fights coming. Tune in. Have a Coke and a smile, and enjoy the show. They reckon I passed my best. I think the best is yet to be seen. Um, I'm in a physically the best I think I've ever been. And the fire is burning more. When sometimes you need, and I tell this to people, sometimes you need everything to fail around you just so you can fire up a little bit. And because when everything's just cruisy and you kind of get complacent and you get kind of, chill and, life's good and life's easy. And, when things around you are crumbling, it makes you a lot tougher. And I love when I read comments like, oh, yeah, he should retire. He's 45 here. And I say, oh, cool, man. And then weeks later, something bigger and better comes out. Zerafa's fighting
That's
you,
it.
or Zerafa's fighting this person or that person. Zerafa's rankings have changed. He's even higher now. So, it says a lot for myself. I've been the number one in Australia for the last, 8 years. So, I must be doing something right. I mean, everyone in Australia has tried to beat me and haven't. So,
You are, my man. You are doing plenty right, and like I said, there's plenty more to come. Just quickly, so your boxing gym, 13 rounds. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I opened up a gym in Craigieburn, and again, I hate traveling, 10 weeks at a time. I love going on a holiday for 10 weeks, but a training camp for 10 weeks away from obviously home and civilization, it can get tough sometimes. So I thought, you know what, with, a bit of spare cash, why don't I just open up a gym and fly my team out to me? And then all of a sudden wasn't meant to be a business, but everyone found out I had a little studio that was just around the corner and people would be rocking up. And when are you opening? And I said, oh, you know what? Maybe we turned it into a business. My partner and I said, let's just turn it into a business and see how we go. And grateful, it's pumping at the moment. We've got 50 plus members, and it's going good. You know what I mean? It's an awesome little gym. We've got guys that have never laced up before walk in, and guys that have had 10 years experience walk in, and we've got the old, the young, the fit, the unfit. We've got the happy, the unhappy. We've got it all, but it's a family there, and I'm grateful. Like I said, it's amazing. And anybody that wants to get into a gym, and not even if it's my gym, just a gym in general, like honestly, I highly recommend it, because if you're going through something, or whatever it may be, as you know, bro, boxing just takes the mind off and to a different place, a happy place.
Absolutely. That's one thing I always love about martial arts. You might have a stressful day, but you walk into the gym and lace up, or you kick the bag, hit the bag, and
Yeah.
you don't think about anything else.
100%.
So
And it becomes
it is good.
an addiction. You got guys at the gym, like I had one guy that come in, he was overweight and whatnot, and in 6 months he's lost like 40 kilos. Like he's just gone from one extreme to the next, and now he's talking about wanting to fight, and I'm like, fuck, we're talking about a guy that was struggling to walk 6 months ago. You know what I mean? Like
that goes back to you helping.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And,
You don't realize, that being there and being that role model, or being that trainer, or being that friend, it actually, yeah.
Nick, where's the gym? For those watching, where's the gym if they want to come down?
It's located in Craigieburn. It's 35 Potter Street, so it's behind the train station. I think it's near the Mint's down at the end, and there's a roundabout there, the Mint, where they make the money, and just before then you turn down this driveway, and it's a little studio set up there, and we've got everything down there. We've got weights, treadmills all upstairs, and like a little weightlifting area, and then we've got downstairs all the bags, the ring, and all that stuff too. So if you are
just introduce ladies classes too,
correct
on the page.
Yeah, because obviously the area we live in is it's a highly Muslim community, so we thought it'd be a good idea, obviously, for the ladies as well. We'll have a girl trainer there as well. My missus goes down there and does the ladies classes, and it's picking up too. So anyone that wants to train alongside women, or come down,
guys. Whether you want to box, lose weight, help your mental health. Box, if you want to box, get in the ring. Go down to Michael Zerafa's gym, 13 rounds of Craigieburn. We talk a little bit about life after boxing. I wanted to mention your venture with Della Rosa. So, mate, that peri peri chicken, that's bloody delicious. What's your favourite flavour?
Yeah, I think peri peri's definitely got me as well. I don't mind the pepperoni, but the peri peri, yeah, definitely steals the trophy, I think. But that just started with just literally waking up one morning and thought, you know what, like the protein world could do with a Zerafa and Della Rosa pizza. And I hit him up and he goes, yeah, man, like come down, we'll sit down and have a talk. And it took about a year or maybe just a bit under, but because I had to go back and forth all the time and product trying and, weight and this and that and calories. And then, yeah, now we got him in Lamana, Essendon Fields, and we're waiting obviously for Coles and Woolworths is where we want to pitch them in. And they seemed keen. So we just got to wait because every 12 months they either take someone off and put someone in, or they add someone new to the roster. So I'm hanging to get them in there, man. Because that's. But yeah, I'm always trying to do different stuff. I'm trying to dip into different projects, and I got my protein, a range coming, and I got the pieces out. We've got more stuff coming as well. Maybe some protein bars and whatnot. But always trying to stay busy, bro. Just trying to.
We're getting a couple of comments. One, class in and out of the ring. So Mick, that probably describes you to the team. And
so
Sal's chimed in. Johnny from the Hangout in US Online. So, was that a comment? I can't actually see the
on the podcast with him the other day from the US. He's an absolute legend. I had the pleasure of meeting him. A gentleman, and he's doing great things too for the sport. He's given guys a platform and yeah, just an absolute all-round superstar. And anyone that's tuning in here and you want some US boxing, tune in. Johnny's the man.
Mick, we've gone over time, mate, but just a few, if I can ask you a few questions, one-word answers from you. Pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Favourite place?
Ooh, I'm going to say Russia because that's where I've been.
Nice. This one, you better get it right. Favourite person?
Celine.
One word for your critics?
Thank you.
And one word for your fans?
I love you all.
How do you beat Chris Eubank Jr.?
I think just the right Michael Zerafa needs to rock up. Physically, mentally, emotionally, if he rocks up, he's a very hard man to beat. A lot of the trainers, the best trainers in the world, Freddie Roach, all the big names have said it. When Zerafa rocks up, he beats anybody. So I think just circling around the right people in camp and just really being switched on, I think gets the job done.
Who wins today, mate? Bombers or the
Fire? Look, I mean, it's a tough one because a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, look, I like the Bombers. The Bombers are, I like the red and black." But yeah, I guess who's the favourite to win in this?
I think Collingwood are the favourites. Bombers have come off a good couple of weeks, so it's built up for a nice game. I'm a Bombers supporter, so I'm glad you said Bombers.
You're my Bombers, that's why I said Bombers. But as long as it's a good game and everyone goes in there, we're wrapped.
Look, I've really loved the positive comments on here. So mate, you have had a lot of negativity, but there are people that are supporting you, so don't think we're against you. In a fight like Chris Eubank Jr., you know what? 100% of Australia should be getting behind you. You're representing us, representing our country, and we want you to proceed to a world title, and that's the next step for you. I truly believe that. Michael Zerafa, mate, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on the show, and what a way for me to launch, my little venture of also giving back I've loved having you on. Australia, don't forget, our number one middleweight, top 10 in the world, he's still coming. You heard it from him first. Michael Zerafa ain't going anywhere.
I appreciate it, brother. And this is the first of many. You're doing great things. And like I said, bro, wherever I can help you or help anybody, I'm only a message away or a call away. Yeah, man, big love to you always, bro. You're an absolute legend.
Thank you, brother. Enjoy your Anzac Day, whatever you've got on. And thank you for making the time today. I really appreciate it. And I hope the viewers got a little bit of background about Michael Zerafa out of our conversation.
Fingers crossed, brother. Thank you again, my man. We'll be in touch.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
See you, brother. See you, guys.
Bye.